And to say the least, Mia has been a great addition to our community this year. I've noticed she just takes everything life throws at her in stride, including this me speech. So whether it be getting through her procrastination to finish it or just getting up here to actually say it, Mia always does it to the best of her ability. So without further ado, we have Mia.
When I knew I was going to be giving a me speech, I thought it was the end of the world, but it isn't. Well, maybe. I remember going to the bathroom and coming back, and then boom, I missed picking your place, and I was last. I know it's towards the end, and everyone is over this, so bear with me. Cardi B once said in the song Get Up 10, knock me down 9 times, but I'll get up 10. I picked this quote because it inspires me and is an accurate reflection of me. Life will throw you down, it's just a fact. As long as you get up, everything will be okay, and I truly do believe that. Sometimes it feels like you're stuck and there's no way out, but either you get up yourself or someone or something is there to help you. I've never been a very athletic person, but I did try tennis, golf, karate, cheerleading, and gymnastics. All of them were pretty boring to me, except cheerleading and gymnastics. I loved cheerleading until when I was the flyer, the base people holding me up dropped me. I became too scared to ever do it again. In gymnastics, I was pretty good until I was doing a back handspring on the trampoline and broke my arm. It never really healed correctly. I sprained the arm a few times after that, so I quit. Maybe in the future, I can try to do gymnastics again. In 4th and 5th grade is when I started my love for the flute. In my elementary school, they started a musical instrument club, so I thought, why not try it out? I picked the flute because it wasn't an instrument I had heard many people play before. At first, it seemed a little hard and needed to use way too much breath. I couldn't even make a sound the first time. But I kept going, and eventually I got the hang of it. I wanted to continue in middle school, but at my 6th grade middle school, they only had string instruments. In 7th grade, I had health problems with migraines, therefore I was homeschooled for the rest of the year and couldn't play. In 8th grade, I decided to try it out again to be able to play it for my speech. But to say the least, it failed drastically. I didn't realize how hard it would be to start something again after so long. Although I'm going to keep playing, and maybe when I'm good enough, I'll be able to play it in front of you all. Over my middle school life, I have grown academically. I specifically want to talk about English and history. In 6th grade, I thought history was the most boring thing ever. Learning about people in BC and early settlers in the world just didn't excite me. There were so many dates you had to learn, or all the different names, and very specific things that were just not my strong suit. I could never remember anything I had just learned, which often made it hard for quizzes and tests, making my grade drop even though I really did make an effort. It just wasn't a good reflection of me. If you ask me right now anything about before Christ, I would look at you with a totally blank face because I have absolutely no clue, even though we learned this for an entire year. But now, in 8th grade, we learn more about U.S. history, and we use different methods, which make it a lot easier to try to remember all of those things. I study more and just try my best, which normally makes me score relatively high. It's also better when the things you are learning actually interest you. I thought analyzing the Constitution and taking notes was actually pretty cool. That's something I've never heard anyone do before, and if you wanted to be a lawyer or a judge or something in the legal field, that would really be something cool to know. In English, I just hated reading. I never found anything that really interested me, and most of the time I read, it was purely because I was forced to. I thought grammar was dumb, and there was no point to it. Who would ask me the subject and predicate of a sentence out in the real world anyway? There were all these rules to follow that I didn't even understand where they came from. I was an awful poet. We mostly did rhyming poems and things that were really abstract and just really hard to write. But now we use a lot of sensory details when we write, which make it more interesting and easier to read. I had never heard of diagramming a sentence, and yes, at times it is hard, but it helps you see linking verb, subject, predicate, verb, etc., which makes it easier to understand certain rules and things. I would say I am a decent poet now, and I'm actually proud of my work. We don't only do structural rhyming, we also do a lot of poems that are, though still hard, easier for me to write. We also use sensory details, which are more interesting. In 6th grade, I would have said the girl drank eggnog instead of what I wrote now in 8th grade recently, which read, the eggnog dancing with her taste buds. A true comparison of how I've grown. We also sometimes get a choice in what we read, so it's something we want to read and not just because we have to. I like that we get a background on what is going on in the book before we read. I hate when there's a topic that comes up in a book that you have no idea about. Overall this year, I have really grown in English and in history, and I plan to continue. To say the least, middle school was very different than in elementary school. In elementary school, I was always at the top of my class and had a nice steady group of friends that I thought I would be close with for life. My group of friends and I all went to different middle schools. The transition to 6th grade was very hard for me. It was hard starting over with new people, a new school, and to make things worse, a school I didn't really want to go to in the first place. However, I quickly adapted to the new school. I had some friends, even though I was sad about losing touch with my old ones. But the school didn't really challenge me, and it was easy to always get A's. So for 7th grade, I applied for the school I wanted to go to for 6th grade at Farmsley, and got accepted. Before I knew it, 6th grade was over, and here I was at Farmsley. I figured since my cousin went there, I already knew a little bit about the school, and it seemed pretty challenging. It would be great, but it really wasn't. I made a few friends, but not a lot, because everyone started over for 6th grade and already had established friendships. Here I am, the new girl, trying to ease my way into their friendships. Because of my headaches, I got too far behind and had to spend the remainder of 7th grade doing homeschool, but it wasn't what I expected. Most people would think staying home in your PJs all day, eating whatever you want, listening to music, etc. would be fun, but it wasn't. It was extremely boring and didn't give me much of a human-to-human interaction because it was online. A lot of the classes were way different things than I was learning in school, which made it even more difficult. I got really behind in my work and just overall really frustrated with the whole experience. To meet more people, I joined Girl Scouts. Girl Scouts was fun, and I met more people as I had hoped. I loved the scavenger hunts and the sleepovers. I really liked the cookie selling. It was fun, and many people wanted to buy them. We also did things for the community, like making Thanksgiving and Christmas baskets for people who couldn't afford to buy food for a nice meal. I liked that you had the opportunity to earn badges for a variety of things. It made me feel like I accomplished something. I knew homeschooling wasn't for me, so I thought about going back to the school I started 7th grade at Farmsley, or back to my 6th grade school, but nothing really stuck and sounded right for me. My mom had suggested collegiate for middle school, but I really just wanted to try out other schools first. But then she brought it up again for 8th grade. At first I wasn't sure, but it was only a few weeks before school started and I was running out of time. I figured, what's the harm in a tour to do? During the tour, I really liked it and it seemed right for me. A bit challenging, but a little bit of challenge is good. I didn't expect to make many friends, as most students have known each other for a very long time. Some even since junior kindergarten. I just thought, well, you have to go somewhere for 8th grade, might as well be here and leave for high school. But that's not really what happened. To my surprise, everyone was really nice and welcoming, even before the school year started. Meeting all different types of new people, I never thought I would be here now. Being challenged, which I wasn't in my other schools. I have more friends than I thought, and school is actually interesting, not just something I have to do. I plan to continue going here for high school, even though it's hard, I know it'll work out in the long run. Like literally everyone has said in their speech, this is the hardest part to write. In fact, due to my procrastination and frustration, I deleted my whole section, and I'm rewriting this on a 15-hour drive to Florida. Last minute, of course, because, well, that's me. I'm a procrastinator. Middle school is full of choices, even if most of the time I pick the wrong ones. Whether to study for my test the night before, or study for 5 minutes after lunch and go begging to Georgia or Sharon to help me. To be honest, even though I'm exposing myself, normally I choose after lunch. Even though I know it's not the best choice, I still do it. But then I remember to do well, you need to sleep too, so at least I did that. To be honest, for this next part, I was going to talk about some stuff that wasn't even 100% true. But after listening to everyone else's speech, I realized mine, well, sucked, and I needed to dig deeper. So this is me being deep. February 14th, 2018. My mom came to my room at about 3 a.m. and told me she was going to the hospital because my brother had been shot. At the time, it didn't really sink in. I heard what she said, but David was always getting hurt, so I didn't think much of it. Until later in the day, my older brother, who I call Joji, came to pick me up and take me to the hospital. I remember us walking in, and my cousin Brittany was talking to her girlfriend saying he was brain dead. I immediately felt my heart sink. I thought, that can't be right. I sat down and looked around, and my whole family sitting there and didn't say a word, none of us did. Until my mom came out of his hospital room and into the waiting room with obvious tears in her eyes. She tried to explain to me that he was shot in the head and it didn't look good. I remember being confused. No, this can't be right. I just saw him a few weeks ago moving into an apartment, and I was proud of him for growing up, even though I wouldn't admit that. I didn't cry because I was just dumb. No, the day continued. We went to pick my cousin and brother up from school. The next few days passed without real change. Until the 3rd day, he was put on a life support machine to preserve his organs so he could be an organ donor. Later that night, they took him off the machine so someone else could live. I remember crying and shaking, completely devastated. I never went to see him there. I didn't want to see him like that, until when his time with us was up. I changed my mind and wanted to see him, but it was already too late. He had died. I always have and will regret never seeing him. I never did get to say goodbye, and that will haunt me forever. Although, like my quote, I'm learning to move on. Life can knock me down, and it might be a struggle to get up, but I will get up eventually, even if I still wish my brother could. To finish, I would like to first dedicate this to my mom, who I call Neighbor. I wouldn't even be here giving this new project if it wasn't for her suggesting collegiate in the first place. Even when things were hard, she always pushed me to become the person she knew I could be. Even though I often forget to show it, I love you lots. I also want to dedicate this to my 5th grade teacher, Miss Trout. Obviously, most of you wouldn't know who she was, but she prepared me for middle school. At first, I didn't want to be in her class because I had been told she was mean and hard. I wanted to be in Miss Warren's class because I thought she was the cool one and everyone wanted to be in her class. All my brothers had Miss Trout as their teacher, and to say the least, they are very different people than me. I thought I would have already had a bad reputation, but to my surprise, that wasn't the case. She continually looked at me for who I was and not for who my brothers were. She prepared me for middle school, so the transition regarding the schoolwork wouldn't be that bad. Maybe she prepared me a little too much because I was just bored, but that's okay. I also want to say thank you to Netflix for being the best distraction ever from all my problems in the world. That can either be really good or bad, because it really leads to my procrastination, but thank you for your existence anyway. Despite the obstacles in my life, I have managed to overcome and be where I am today. For that, I want to say thank you to all my friends. I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are. Thank you for being with me along the way, letting me sleep on your shoulder at times I probably shouldn't even be sleeping, Candy Sharon, or giving me advice. I know I can come to y'all for almost anything, and I thank you for that. I want to thank other panel members for being with me along the way. I know it's not been easy, but we've made it together. It's been scary, but like my book says, even when I was knocked down, I eventually got back up with the help of you all. So in a nutshell, that's me. Thank you.